Also tonight, the images coming in now, a confirmed tornado hitting a high school. Cars on top of each other. More than 20 tornadoes in severe weather, killing at least 12. And now 2 new storm systems moving in, one right across the country. Snow and ice in the east. Ginger times this out. It could have been much worse, the deadly attack outside New York City. We have alarming new reporting tonight, the bomb in the car, the shrapnel that could have traveled 5 football fields. Outrage on the streets of Iran tonight after that country admits to mistakenly shooting down that passenger plane. News tonight on the impeachment showdown. When will the trial begin, and is there any chance it could be dismissed in the Senate? The key meeting tomorrow. The candidate dropping out of the race for president tonight. The American family swept out to sea right off the coast of the U.S. The desperate search. The Queen tonight allowing Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan to create that new life. But the clues in the Queen's own words. The Major League cheating scandal, the Houston Astros, the general manager and manager both fired. How officials say they pulled off their feet before they got caught. The volcano emergency, the evacuations underway tonight. And Tiger Woods' 10-year-old son at his golf swing.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to start another week with all of you at home. And we begin tonight with an alarming development this evening. The U.S. now forcing out at least 21 Saudis who had come to this country for training, some of them flight training. But tonight, federal authorities say their extremist views were discovered in the wake of that deadly attack at the U.S. Naval Air Station in Pensacola. We reported here on the Saudi student armed with a handgun going on a rampage just weeks ago at that base. And tonight, the Attorney General now calling it an act of terrorism, quote, motivated by jihadist ideology. 3 young sailors were killed, 8 others were injured before the gunman was taken down. Tonight, what was now discovered and why those 21 Saudis are being kicked out of the U.S. ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas leading us off.
5 weeks after that horrific mass shooting at the Pensacola Naval Station, 21 Saudi nationals are being sent back to Saudi Arabia. This after authorities say they made a chilling discovery. At least 17 military trainees were found with jihadi literature and 15 with child porn on their computers.
I do think it's clear that we have to improve our vetting procedures.
A sensitive issue for the U.S., considering 15 of the 19 hijackers in the 9/11 attack were Saudis. That Saudi pilot who gunned down 3 sailors and wounded 8 others was a radical who the FBI says was secretly planning to kill his American colleagues for months. Just 2 hours before the shooting, Lieutenant Mohammed Saeed al-Shamrani was allegedly reading and posting jihadi messages on social media.
He harbored anti-U.S. military and anti-Israel sentiments, and that he thought violence was necessary to defend Muslim countries.
New evidence revealed today suggests al-Shamrani was planning a large-scale massacre. He had more than 180 rounds of ammunition for his handgun, which had an extended magazine. So far, the FBI has no evidence the gunman killed at the scene had others helping him. But agents are scrambling to access his 2 badly damaged iPhones. Authorities say Apple so far has been unwilling to help. It's the same problem investigators faced after the San Bernardino terror attack in 2015.
We call on Apple and other technology companies to help us find a solution.
We have heard that question before, and Pierre Thomas with us live again tonight from the Justice Department. And Pierre, authorities do believe that these phones could be key to finding out whether the gunman had any accomplices?
That's right, David. The FBI says they found no evidence of support, but it's clear they're extremely frustrated. They don't know what is on those 2 phones. And David, the FBI says the suspect intentionally shot one of the phones before he was killed. But right now, they have no evidence that any of those trainees knew about the plot beforehand, David.
All right, Pierre Thomas leading us off tonight. Pierre, thank you. There are new images coming in tonight. Another tornado, this time slamming into a high school, cars on top of one another. An EF1 flipping these cars in Laura, South Carolina, 90-mile-an-hour winds. A severe storm near Fayetteville, North Carolina, blowing the roof off this gym. The numbers tonight are staggering. More than 20 confirmed deadly tornadoes now. This devastation in Houghton, Louisiana. And tonight, a series of new storms now moving in, one right across the country, snow and ice, eventually right here in the east. We time it all out. ABC's Marcus Moore in the storm zone tonight.
Tonight, a powerful storm striking the Carolinas. A confirmed EF1 tornado with winds of 90 miles per hour touching down this afternoon in this high school parking lot east of Florence, South Carolina.
We were in class and we went under lockdown and nobody really knew what was happening.
Cars tossed on top of each other, windshields shattered. There was no tornado warning. Thankfully, no one was hurt. And in North Carolina, part of the roof of an elementary school gym blown off east of Fayetteville.
What a blessing it is that only 3 students were injured and that those 3 students are going to be okay.
This after that multi-day severe weather outbreak claimed at least 12 lives. East of Shreveport, Louisiana, an EF2 tornado with winds of up to 135 miles per hour destroying the home of Jerry and Mary Sue Franks. They did not survive. And in Lubbock, Texas, icy roads claiming the lives of 2 first responders. Police officer Nicholas Reyna and fire lieutenant paramedic Eric Hill were on the scene of an accident when they were hit by a vehicle. A 3rd first responder was critically hurt. David, another look at the devastating scene here in Louisiana where that EF2 tornado brought 135-mile-per-hour winds. It lifted a mobile home into the air and sent it tumbling across the land here. A married couple that lived in this house did not survive, and today their adult children were sifting through this debris looking for pictures of their parents they'll now cherish dearly. David.
Just a horrific weekend. We're thinking about those families, and it continued right into today. Marcus, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee, because we mentioned 2 other storm systems also on the move, and Ginger is tracking it all for us tonight. Hey, Ginger.
Hey, David, 2 to 6 inches of snow shut down some schools and delayed universities around Seattle. That was kind of their suburbs that ended up having the first part of this. But these storms are going to bring winter weather all the way down into the Sierra of California. So let's go through the timing. This first one is pretty much through, and it's much weaker than the next one that's coming in. So I want you to focus on the Wednesday night into Thursday time period. That is the storm that not only could impact everybody from Portland, Oregon, who now has a winter weather advisory, down to Santa Barbara and Los Angeles, even some snow in the mountains there, and that is the storm that could bring snow and ice to parts of the Northeast by this weekend. David.
By the weekend. Some tough weather, but I still wanted to wish you a happy birthday, Ginger.
Thank you so much.
We move on to other news this Monday night, and we have new reporting here after a deadly rampage right outside New York City. Police now say it could have been much worse, in fact. You'll remember the surveillance showing the attackers getting out of their van, walking toward the kosher grocery store in Jersey City, where they would open fire. Tonight, what was discovered in that van, a massive bomb that could have sent shrapnel 5 football fields away. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, the FBI revealing the suspects behind the rampage inside a Jersey City kosher supermarket may have been plotting an even deadlier attack.
We know now that they planned greater acts of mayhem.
Authorities say inside their van was a bomb powerful enough to scatter shrapnel across 5 football fields, along with materials for another device. David Anderson and Francine Graham killed 3 innocent people in that market and terrorized the neighborhood for hours. The FBI believes when a detective spotted the couple in a nearby cemetery right before the attack, it likely threw off a broader plan and probably saved dozens of lives. The detective was also shot and killed by the couple.
This was, in fact, a hate crime and an episode of domestic terrorism.
The FBI saying the suspects were motivated by bias against the Jewish community and law enforcement.
David, the FBI says the suspects researched a nearby Jewish community center in Bayonne as a possible target. Authorities say given the arsenal they had, David, that could have been catastrophic.
All right, Ariel Reshef tonight, thank you. Overseas now into the protests on the streets of Iran after that country admitted it accidentally shot down that passenger plane. Protesters turned their anger away from the U.S. back to their own government. Many now avoiding stepping on the American flag painted on the street for that purpose. The protesters turning on their government. And back here at home tonight, new questions about all of this for President Trump. The initial strike down, that drone strike. Here's Chief Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz now.
Tonight, Iran in turmoil after thousands flooded the streets, outraged over their government's admission of the shoot-down of a passenger jet. Security forces cracking down, using tear gas and reportedly live ammunition against demonstrators, some chanting for the removal of Iran's supreme leader. For 3 days, the Iranian government claimed the Ukrainian jet crashed because of mechanical trouble, finally admitting they had mistakenly shot it down, killing the 176 civilians only as video and witness evidence mounted. The commercial jet struck just hours after Iran attacked 2 American-backed military bases in Iraq. Today, U.S. military crews sifted through the wreckage at Al Asad Air Base. The attacks retaliation for the killing of Iran's top military general, Qasem Soleimani. The country initially united against America's targeted killing, demanding revenge, but tonight a complete reversal. These crowds avoid trampling on images of the U.S. and Israeli flags painted on the street, President Trump calling that big progress. But on the targeted killing of Soleimani, President Trump's Secretary of Defense appearing to contradict the president that 4 embassies were under threat.
Do they have large-scale attacks planned for other embassies? And if those were planned, why can't we reveal that to the American people? Wouldn't that help your case?
I can reveal that I believe it would have been 4 embassies.
I didn't see one with regard to 4 embassies. What I'm saying is I share the president's view that probably my expectation was they were going to go after our embassies.
Tonight, the president pressed on the inconsistencies.
Well, first of all, I think it's been totally consistent. But here's what's been consistent. We killed Soleimani, the #1 terrorist in the world by every account.
And Martha Raddatz live in Washington tonight. She's just back from Iran. And Martha, your sources are telling you the U.S. intelligence community had actually been watching Qasem Soleimani since last spring.
Exactly, David. And that coincided with an increased campaign of violence that Soleimani was planning against the U.S. to try to counter the so-called maximum pressure campaign on Iran. So they were tracking his movements. In the event, he became a target of opportunity. But killing him was ultimately a decision made by the president, of course, David.
Martha, thank you. We're going to turn now to impeachment, a key meeting tomorrow in the House as Speaker Pelosi now prepares to send the articles of impeachment over to the Senate, setting the stage for the trial of President Trump. Let's get right to Mary Bruce. She's live up at the Hill tonight. And Mary, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi holding that meeting tomorrow. What's expected?
Well, David, tomorrow morning, the House Speaker will be huddling behind closed doors with all House Democrats discussing which members could be prosecuting the case in the Senate and deciding when to finally send over the articles of impeachment, which tonight we are told could happen as soon as tomorrow.
And Mary, President Trump is now suggesting the Republican-controlled Senate should dismiss the case against him when they get the articles. Speaker Pelosi, with a strong reaction to that?
Yeah, David, the Speaker says that dismissing this case would be a cover-up, and even top Republicans tell us they don't want a dismissal here. The Republican leader is making very clear they want a trial. David.
Mary Bruce with us on a Monday night. Mary, thank you. And now to the race for 2020 with the Iowa caucuses just 3 weeks from today. Hard to believe. Democrat Cory Booker announcing he's bowing out, suspending his campaign. The New Jersey senator ran on a message of peace and unity, but he failed to qualify for 2 debates in a row. Former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick is now the only African-American competing on the Democratic side. Next, Queen Elizabeth's historic announcement tonight, agreeing to support Harry and Meghan in their request to become part-time royals. The Queen's new message after a high-stakes summit acknowledging their wish to, quote, create a new life as a young family. But tonight, everyone looking at the clues in the Queen's words. And here's James Longman from London.
Prince Charles, Prince William and the Prince at the centre of a royal crisis, today emerging from talks aimed at finding a way for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to step back from royal life. Tonight, the Queen is voicing her support, but admitting it was not what she wanted. Although we would have preferred them to remain full-time working members of the royal family, she said, we respect and understand their wish to live a more independent life as a family, while remaining a valued part of my family. A tone less like the sovereign, more like a grandmother, using the word family 8 times and naming them like the rest of us. Harry and Meghan have made clear that they do not want to be reliant on public funds in their new lives. It has therefore been agreed that there'll be a period of transition in which the Sussexes will spend time in Canada and the UK.
She's absolutely is a pragmatist. She would not be looking at going in there, pointing fingers. The Queen would not look back. She'd be looking forward.
Just ahead of today's meeting, a glimpse of unity. Prince William and Harry pushing back against rumours that Harry was bullied out of the royal family. For brothers who care so deeply about the issues surrounding mental health, the use of inflammatory language in this way is offensive and potentially harmful. And David, there is still so much to work out. Will the couple keep their royal titles? Where are they going to live? And crucially, how are they going to pay their way? The Queen has said she wants this sorted in days and not weeks. David.
James Longman again tonight. James, thank you. And next tonight, the dangerous volcano erupting in the Philippines. Look at this tonight. The Taal volcano roaring back to life, spewing ash and steam, lava high into the sky.